A grandma sacrifices her last valuable keepsake, her wedding ring, to keep 4 grandkids fed. 18 years later, the now-grown grandkids return, not just with gratitude, but with a truth about the ring, their family, and who really saved who. Before we dive in, do me a tiny favor. If you love emotional, twist-filled stories like this, hit that like button and subscribe. There are some doors you open, and you already know something is about to change. Not because you heard a sound, not because you saw a shadow, but because your body remembers a pain your mind keeps trying to forget. Grandma Me opened her front door with one hand on the knob. The other hand stayed on her chest like she was holding her heart in place. 4 people stood on her porch, grown, tall, wearing coats that looked expensive, but their faces were still familiar. Jay, Nia, Marcus, and Lila, her grandbabies. For a second, Grandma Me smiled so big it looked like it might save her. Then her eyes dropped, because Jay was holding a small velvet box, the kind you don't carry around just because. Jay swallowed hard. "Hey, Grandma." Me's voice came out light like she was trying to keep the moment from cracking. "Well, look at y'all. Just showing up like a surprise tax bill." Marcus gave a quick laugh, but it died fast. Nia didn't move much. Lila's eyes were already glossy. Jay lifted the velvet box a little. "Grandma, we found it." Me's smile froze, her breath snagged. "Found what?" Jay's fingers trembled as he opened the box. Me didn't lean in, she leaned back, like whatever was inside might bite. 18 years earlier, the box was empty, and Grandma Me was running out of time. Me stood in front of her refrigerator with a grocery list in one hand, and an almost empty carton of milk in the other. The fridge looked like it had quit on life. A half stick of butter, a jar of pickles, and a bag of rice that felt like it was mocking her. From the living room, 4 little voices floated in. They weren't even asking for food. That's the part that hurt. Kids learn fast when the adults are struggling. They start shrinking their needs like it's a game. "Grandma, I'm good," Jay said. "We ate at school." Nia was at the table doing homework with a pencil down to a stub. Marcus was pretending imaginary cereal was extra crunchy, and Lila was humming to a doll like she was already learning how to soothe herself. Me pressed her lips together and reached into a drawer by the stove, not for utensils, for a small wooden box wrapped in a dish towel. Her fingers hovered on the latch, like opening it would be a sin. Inside sat her wedding ring, gold, worn smooth, a tiny engraving inside the band barely visible anymore. She turned it in her palm and it flashed under the kitchen light, like a memory refusing to die. She whispered, "I'm sorry, Earl." Then the phone rang. Me answered with a bright voice she didn't feel. "Hello?" A woman from the school spoke carefully. "Miss Me, I'm calling about the lunch account." Me's stomach dropped. "It's negative," the woman said. "The kids have been skipping meals." Me glanced toward the living room. Lila was rocking the doll. Quiet, small. Me forced a laugh. "Oh no, honey, that's a mistake." But when she hung up, her hands shook so bad the ring tapped softly against the wood. Me walked into the living room and looked at those babies. Their cheeks too thin, their eyes too big. Jay met her gaze and tried to smile, like he could fix it with a grin. Me spoke gently. "Y'all hungry?" 4 heads shook at the same time. 4 little liars. Then Lila, sweet little Lila, said the thing that broke Grandma Me right down the middle. "It's okay, I'm not that hungry anyway." Me turned away fast before they could see her face. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Her chest ached like somebody was squeezing her from the inside. Pride can feel like strength, until it starts costing people meals. That afternoon, Me put on her best coat. Not the warmest one, the "I'm fine" one. She brushed her hair like she was going somewhere important, because if she acted like it was normal, maybe it wouldn't hurt as bad. She didn't tell the kids where she was going. She just kissed their foreheads like a promise. "I'll be right back." Jay watched her from the window, eyes tracking her like he didn't trust the world to keep her safe. Me walked 3 blocks to a pawn shop with faded letters. "Harlan's Jewelry and Loans." The bell above the door jingled when she entered, like it was laughing at her. The place smelled like metal and old carpet. Behind the counter stood Mr. Harlan, gray hair, heavy eyebrows. A man who looked like he'd seen every kind of desperation. Me placed the ring on the counter. No hesitation. I need to know what it's worth, she said. No speeches. Harlan picked it up with tweezers and turned it under a lamp. His eyes narrowed, not at the gold, at the inside of the band. He went still for half a second. Then he asked, too casually, "This ring, where'd your husband get it?" Me's neck stiffened. "My husband, he's gone, and the ring is mine." "That ain't what I asked," Harlan said. Me leaned in, quiet but firm. "You heard me. Tell me what it's worth, that's all." He hesitated, like he wanted to say something else. Like he was about to do the right thing but didn't know if he was allowed. Finally, he named a number. Me didn't blink. She just nodded once, like she expected pain to have a price tag. Harlan slid cash across the counter. Me touched it, then pulled her hand back and looked at the ring one last time. Some sacrifices don't feel heroic. They feel like a small death. She swallowed hard and whispered, "Forgive me, Earl." Then she turned and walked out. The bell jingled again. She made it half a block before the first tear hit her cheek. Inside the shop, Harlan stared at the ring like it was a ghost. He flipped it over, ran a thumb across the engraving. His face drained. He reached under the counter, grabbed a phone, and dialed a number from memory. When someone answered, Harlan spoke in a voice that didn't belong to a pawn shop. "Yeah," he said, "it's back. After all these years, she finally sold it." He paused. And then he whispered, "And if she sold it, that means she's out of options." Why would a pawn shop owner sound like he's reporting a missing artifact? And who has been waiting for that ring to show up again? The money from that ring didn't buy luxury. It bought survival. Me went to the grocery store with cash in her pocket and heartbreak in her throat. Bread, eggs, peanut butter, chicken legs because they were cheaper. A big bag of rice because rice could stretch forever if you prayed hard enough. That night, the house smelled like food again, and the kids acted like it was Christmas. Marcus danced around the table yelling, "We eatin' good, good." Nia smiled quietly like she didn't want to waste happiness. Lila clapped so hard her palms turned pink. Jay watched Grandma Me, the way a little soldier watches his commander. Me served them big plates. Then she served herself a small one. Jay noticed. He always noticed. "Grandma, you want my piece?" he asked, sliding his chicken leg toward her. Me smiled too bright. "Boy, don't play with me. You eat. I already ate." Jay stared at her. He knew that was cap, but he didn't argue. Kids don't forget who went hungry so they could eat. They just learn to carry it quietly. The years rolled on like that. Me took extra cleaning jobs. Ironed clothes for neighbors. Did hair in the kitchen when rent got tight. She kept the lights on with grit and coffee and pure stubbornness. And whenever the kids asked about Grandpa Earl, her voice turned to stone. "Don't bring him up. Not in this house." Jay grew into the protector, walking siblings to school, waiting outside the nurse's office, standing in doorways like a shield. Nia grew into the observer, remembering details people thought didn't matter. Marcus grew into the comedian, cracking jokes so nobody heard the fear. And Lila stayed tender, like she was scared the world would harden her the way it hardened Grandma Me. One afternoon when Jay was 12, Me left for work and forgot to lock her bedroom drawer. Jay wasn't trying to snoop. He was looking for a stapler for a school project, but he found a folded pawn receipt. He stared at the date, then the amount, then the description, "Women's gold ring," engraved. Jay sat on the floor staring at the paper like it punched him. He remembered the week the fridge got full again, the way Grandma Me suddenly found money. He remembered Lila saying she wasn't hungry. He remembered Grandma Me turning away. Jay folded the receipt back up with shaking hands. He didn't tell the others. Not yet. Because if he said it out loud, he'd have to admit Grandma Me had been bleeding in silence. That night Me came home exhausted and found Jay still awake. "What you doing up?" she asked. "Just thinkin'," he said. She ruffled his hair. "My little old man." Jay wanted to say, "You shouldn't have had to do that," but he didn't. And somewhere across town, Mr. Harlan kept the ring. He didn't melt it. He didn't sell it. He didn't display it. He he locked it away, like he was holding trouble. A few months after the sale, a letter showed up in me's mailbox. No return address. Thick paper, sealed like it carried a secret. Me stared at it for a long time before bringing it inside. Nia, 8 years old, saw the back of the envelope before me snatched it away. And on the seal was a symbol, a crest, a circle with a split line through it. Nia didn't know why it mattered, she just knew it did. Me walked to the sink, held the envelope over the trash and lit it with a match. Jay rushed in. "Grandma, what's that?" Me didn't look at him, "It's nothing." The flame ate the paper fast. The crest vanished in smoke. Outside, across the street, a car sat with its lights off. Someone inside watched the house. Not moving, not leaving, just watching. One evening, Lila, now 10, found Grandma Me in the kitchen rubbing her chest like it hurt. "Grandma," Lila asked softly, "did Grandpa ever leave you something?" Me turned fast, anger sharp and sudden. "Don't say his name in this house." Lila shrank back, stunned. Marcus muttered, "Dang, Lila was just asking." Me's jaw trembled. She tried to hold it together, but then she didn't. Her eyes filled. Her shoulders collapsed. And for the first time, the kids saw their grandma look small. Me covered her mouth like she was trying to swallow a scream. Jay stepped forward. "Grandma, what happened?" Me shook her head hard. "No, no, baby, you don't need that. Wait." Nia stared at me's hands. The way her fingers twisted like they missed a ring that wasn't there. And in that moment, Nia understood something that made her stomach turn. That ring wasn't just love. It was a lock. And Grandma Me had thrown away the key. If Grandpa Earl was gone, why did a letter show up with that crest? And why was someone watching the house, like they were waiting for me to slip up? 18 years makes kids into adults, but it doesn't erase what hunger feels like. Me was older now, 85, still standing like she had something to prove, her hands thinner, her hair silver, but her eyes still sharp. When her 4 grandkids showed up, she tried to act annoyed. "Well, look at y'all, just popping up like you own the place." Marcus grinned. "Grandma, we kinda do." Lila hugged her so tight Me let out a little oof, then hid her smile. Nia stepped inside and scanned the living room. Same couch, same frames, same cracks in the wall. Jay lingered in the doorway like he was bracing for impact. Me waved them in. "Okay, okay, sit. I ain't made a meal for grown folks in forever. Y'all better not be picky." Marcus leaned in. "Grandma, you could serve cereal with water and we'd still say it's fire." Me smacked his arm. "Boy, stop." They sat around the table like old times. Only now the shoulders were broader, the voices deeper, the worries heavier. Me noticed Jay glancing at the drawer by the stove, the one she used to keep the ring in. Me cleared her throat. "So what's all this? Y'all got jobs, y'all got lives. Folks don't just come back like this unless there's bad news." Jay pulled out the velvet box. Me laughed too loud. "Oh Lord, what is this? A proposal?" "Marcus, if you brought some girl to my, it's not that," Jay said. Nia touched me's arm. "Grandma, please." Me's smile faded. Jay opened the box. Inside sat the ring. Gold, worn smooth. Me recognized it like a missing limb. Her breath left her body. "No," she whispered. "No, that's not possible. It's yours, Grandma," Lila said. Me shoved her chair back. The legs scraped the floor. She stood up fast, fear dressed up as anger. "Don't play with me. I don't want pity gifts. I don't want nobody trying to make me feel like a charity case." Jay stood too. His eyes were red. "This ain't pity," he said. "It's a correction." Me stared at him. "A correction?" Marcus swallowed. "Grandma, we didn't just find it." Me's face tightened. "What you mean?" Nia pulled out a thick folder, legal papers, official stamps. Jay spoke softly. "We tracked it." Me shook her head. "Why would you do that?" Jay's voice broke. "Because I found the receipt when I was 12. Me's eyes widened. "I didn't tell them then," Jay said. "I didn't want you to feel exposed. But I never forgot. I never stopped thinking about you selling your ring so we could eat." Me's lips trembled. "You had no right." "We had every right," Nia said. "We were the reason you did it." Me gripped the chair. Lila whispered, "Grandma, we needed you to get it back." Me shook her head, furious and devastated. "You don't understand what that ring cost me." Marcus exhaled. "Grandma, we do. That's why we're here." Voice over mid-roll CTA. If you've ever had someone in your family sacrifice in silence, hit the like button right now. Because what me is about to learn flips your whole stomach. Me stared at the ring again, then at the folder. Her hands reached out without permission from her pride. She opened the folder. On the first page was a name she hadn't seen in decades. Me's face drained. No, she whispered, no, he's dead. Jay shook his head slowly. Grandma, he's not. Me's knees buckled. You're lying, me said. Earl been gone since we got proof, Marcus said. Lila slid another paper forward. Me skimmed it, then stopped. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Nia whispered, Grandpa Earl didn't disappear. Jay's voice went heavy. He ran. Me snapped her eyes up. From what? Jay didn't answer right away. He pointed at the ring. And for the first time in 18 years, me saw the engraving clearly. The same crest Nia saw on that burned envelope. Jay whispered, that ring ain't just a ring, Grandma. Me's voice was thin. It's my wedding ring. Jay shook his head. No, he said, it's a key. If the ring is a key, what does it unlock? And why is Grandpa Earl alive under a name me swore was buried? Sometimes the truth doesn't arrive like a confession. It arrives like an eviction notice. Me sat back down, breathing hard. Jay opened the folder to a photograph. A man in a suit. Older, gray at the temples. But the eyes, me whispered, that's Earl. Nia spoke carefully. Grandma, he didn't die. He disappeared on purpose. Me's voice went sharp. Why would you dig this up? Why would you bring this into my house? Jay stepped closer. Because it didn't stop being in your house, Grandma. It just hid better. Lila whispered, we found Mr. Harlan. Me blinked. Harlan, Marcus nodded. Pawn shop guy. Same spot. Like he was waiting. Me swallowed. He asked me a question. Jay's eyes widened. What question? Me repeated it, barely breathing. Where did your husband get it? Nia exhaled because he already knew. Jay flipped to another page. Grandma, Jay said, Harlan wasn't just a pawn shop owner. Me frowned. He worked with the U.S. Marshals. He handled witness relocation cases, people who had to disappear. Me's voice cracked. Witness? What? Marcus leaned in. Grandpa got mixed up with some real bad people back then. Not movie bad, like your name on a list bad. Me's breathing went shallow. Lila spoke softly. He didn't leave because he wanted to. He left because they told him if he stayed, you and us would be in danger. Us? Me snapped. We weren't even born. Yes, we were, Nia said. Jay was little, and you were pregnant with Marcus. Me froze. Memories hit her hard. A knock at the door. A man in a suit. Earl packing a bag with shaking hands. Me whispered, he told me it was temporary. Jay nodded. It wasn't temporary, it was a disappearance. Me's eyes narrowed. So why didn't he come back? Jay looked down at the ring. He tried, Jay said, but the ring was the key to all of it. Marcus added, the crest isn't decoration. It matches a seal on a trust. Me blinked. A trust? Jay slid papers forward. Grandpa set up a trust under his new identity. For you, for us, but it had conditions. Me whispered, conditions. Jay nodded. He couldn't contact you unless the threat was gone, and he couldn't release it unless the ring was accounted for. Lila whispered, he said if the ring ever hit the street, it meant you were desperate. Me's hands flew to her chest. Nia nodded. That's why the letter came. The one you burned. He was trying to warn you. Me whispered, I burned it because I was scared. I didn't want the kids to know we were. I didn't want them to see me bleeding. Jay's voice cracked. We carried it anyway. We just didn't have words for it. Silence. Then the doorbell rang. All 5 of them froze. Marcus stood slowly. Who the heck is that? Jay peeked through the curtain. His face went pale. Grandma, it's Mr. Harlan. Me opened the door. Harlan stood there, older now but still heavy in the eyes. He looked past me into the house. His gaze landed on the ring. His jaw tightened. I'm sorry, he said, but they know you have it now. Me whispered, who? Harlan looked down the street into the dark. The people Earl ran from. If someone has been waiting for that ring to resurface. What happens now that Me's address is back on their radar? In movies, danger looks loud. In real life, it looks like a quiet car parked too long. Harlan stepped inside and closed the door behind him. Me didn't offer him a seat. She offered him the truth in her eyes. "You knew," Me said. "When I sold it, you knew." Harlan nodded. "I did." Me's voice shook. "And you still took it. Because if I didn't," he said, "someone else would, and they would have traced it faster." Jay asked, "Who are they?" "People who don't care about sentimental stories," Harlan said. "They care about what the ring unlocks." Nia lifted the folder. "The trust." Harlan nodded. "Earl made enemies. Then he made a deal. New name, new life. But that ring stayed the anchor. Proof. Access. A key and a target." Me whispered, "So where is he?" Harlan hesitated. "He wants to come. But he can't walk into this house like a reunion episode." Me's eyes filled. "Why not?" "Because the moment he shows himself," Harlan said, "it confirms the connection. And it pulls heat onto you." Me laughed once, bitter. "Heat? Baby, I've been on fire for 18 years. Marcus stepped in front of me. "Okay, so what do we do?" Harlan nodded toward the papers. "You finish it legally, quietly." Nia flipped pages. "There's a transfer clause. If Grandma signs, the trust moves to her name, then to us. But it has to go through a specific attorney." Harlan nodded. "An attorney Earl trusts. One who knows the case." Me stared at the papers. Her hands trembled. Jay kneeled beside her. "Grandma, I know you're mad. I know this hurts. But we did this for you." Me's voice cracked. "I didn't want you carrying my pain." Jay whispered, "We carried it anyway. We just didn't want you to carry it alone anymore." Lila took Me's hand. "Grandma, you gave up your ring so we could eat." Me swallowed. Marcus added, "And now we're giving it back so you can finally breathe." Me looked at them, and it hit her. They came back on purpose. Not to flex, not to stunt, to heal her. Me whispered, "I tried so hard to make sure y'all never felt poor." Nia shook her head. "We weren't poor, Grandma." Me frowned. "We were loved," Nia said. That broke her. Her shoulders shook. A sound came out that wasn't just a sob. It was a lifetime unclenching. Jay placed the ring gently in Me's palm. Me stared at it like it was sacred. Harlan said softly, "They can't take what it really means." Me looked up. "And what's it mean?" Harlan hesitated. "It means Earl loved you enough to disappear. And you loved those babies enough to survive without him." Me whispered, "I hated him." Harlan nodded. "I know." Me stared down. "I missed him." Jay said gently, "You don't have to pick one feeling, Grandma." Me slid the ring onto her finger. It fit. Like time had been waiting. Lila cried quietly. Marcus wiped his face like he was mad at tears. Nia exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. Jay looked at Me's hand. "Looks right," he whispered. Me looked at her grandkids. "I sold it so you could eat." Jay's eyes filled. "And we came back," he said, "so you could finally breathe." Harlan cleared his throat. "We move tomorrow morning. I'll drive you to the attorney." Me nodded. Then she glanced at the street. "Are they outside?" Harlan didn't lie. "Maybe." Marcus stepped forward. "Then they better get comfortable. Because we ain't going nowhere." Jay stood tall. "We do this the right way." Nia lifted her chin. "We're not kids anymore." Lila squeezed Me's hand. "And Grandma's not alone anymore." Me stared at them, tears falling. For the first time in 18 years, she didn't have to be the only shield. She wasn't ready for the truth, but she was ready for what came after it. If this story hit you in the chest, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your sacrifice wasn't forgotten. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe. Because the next one goes even deeper.